We're 100 days from the election now, less than. I have a hard time believing the Wayfair thing based on the Russia. Mostly anything dealing with Russia, I have a hard time to believe.
You fill 1,700 pages, and maybe you'll want to write more of them. I mean, everything we're talking about, you could have a page and a half.
And maybe they'd read more of them too.
Yeah.
Because the long form discussion is taking over these news segments, are taking over these spoon-fed, prepackaged media sound bites that we get every day.
Media. Yep.
Do you think anyone on the left should have been blamed for this?
The insurrection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the entire media.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always is Ryan and his studio intruder.
Ooh, look at that.
This is episode 77 of the weekly show. Honest topics with a twist. Be sure to find us YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. Like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channels. You know the deal. You know the drill. I'm ready to get into it. I don't know about Ryan.
We're good, right now?
Ryan's giving the old thumbs up.
Let's roll. I do have an opener.
That's what I was going to ask. There it is.
Open it
up.
So yeah, I came to a revelation this weekend. Thank you everybody for tuning in. As always, appreciate it. Hi Dave. Hi everybody. Say hi Melody.
Hi.
Hey. I got a studio crasher today, so I hope it's enjoyable for everybody like it is for me. All the same, I watched the podcast the other day from last week Monday. I was pretty mad.
Yeah.
You know? So thanks for everybody bearing with me. I only bring it up because that's what happens when things really get to me. You know, it's why we always talk about history, religion, politics. I always talk about it, preach that stuff. I believe it. I fully believe it because, quite frankly, there's a lot of crazy things going on, and then I think that we're branching into a next step of evolution of society, and it's just we're just all casually sitting by, you know, and I don't know. You got to set fires to burn the trees. I don't know what else to tell people anymore, but I always try to come here, be relaxed. It's kind of why we do Decembertainment, because some of the stuff's so serious, but you know, it's not always the easiest thing. It's not always the easiest thing to be so funny about some of this stuff. Because quite frankly, I don't find it funny. It's not enjoyable. It's not entertaining either for, you know, you guys listening to me bug out. But it's true. You know, I know it's true. I think everybody else knows it's true. And that's why I think it's hard for people to sit through stuff like that. So for anybody that actually caught the whole show, and appreciate it as always. But I always try to come here cool and collective and stuff. But like, when I literally see all of this, it's like, so, once again, I always appreciate it. It's a way to get it out and all that. But I got so impassioned because I want to use it as a milestone from going forward. I can always reflect on that video, always go back and compare to it, because Dave and I will be here for the long haul, you know, as long as the algorithm doesn't snipe us out or something. But, yeah, that's all I got to say about the opener. But you got anything you want to add? All right.
She's less talkative than your last guest.
She's normally not talkative. So
speaking of our prior guests, I sent this to you already, but one of our prior guests was very pleased to see this news. If you caught the episode with Christian, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Headlines: the third House Republican who voted to impeach Trump is calling it quits. And that person is John Katko in New York. If you recall back to the episode where we had Christian on, he was actually campaigning with somebody who's going to be challenging Katko. Katko is calling it. So I wouldn't say an easy run to the end goal there, but it's certainly a little easier when you're what is expected to be your main opponent is calling it an end.
Yes, hold on 1 second. Yeah, it's just crazy to think that we'll call this a December December 17th, 73 exclusive, honestly. I mean, what else do we call it at this point? We had the guy on that literally worked with the people to bring this guy down, and it happened. This guy isn't just like withdrawing for no reason. These people don't willingly give up power. They either know they're going to lose, they're caught up in a scandal, or they know the writing's on the wall. These people are the highest level of deception. They know, they know exactly what they're doing. I always say it every week, but this is a prime example. And yeah, Dave, way to get your people familiar with the matter and make a December 1773 breakthrough on the front cutting edge. Yeah, are you going to wait a minute, Sid? What do you want, water?
Yeah.
What do you want? What? All right, I guess you have a little.
I don't really have any way to just ease into this, but I just think you'll find this interesting. Headlines! Facebook is potentially moving to Texas. The parent company, Meta, which is now the parent company, signs a massive lease in downtown Austin. There's more to this than financial gain.
Dude, they're going there to destroy the vestige of freedom. Rush, the first person I ever thought posed this theory was Rush Limbaugh, and he said he experienced it in New York, he experienced it in Florida, and I'm sure he would have been moving to Texas at some point. But Rush Limbaugh experienced this, and he always talked about it in Texas in particular. If you look at the border counties, on those border areas and along the border and all this stuff, and they're slowly turning. They're going to bleed these places dry like they do everywhere else. And how ironic for this very company that always tries to sabotage a certain ideology, even though they say that the algorithm promotes their ideology, which is so crazy. They're moving to the very vestige of those places, that ideals. Once again, this was one of my big beefs with Joe Rogan and everything else, but, I mean... Chef Ramsay, 50 Cent, Diddy, I mean, Elon Musk, Ben Shapiro. I mean, how many people, man? Joe Rogan, his comedian friends, Tom Segura. Like, how many people do you need to see move? Speaking of Joe Rogan, I've seen a thing that dozens of celebrities are contacting him about COVID treatments. Thank you, Dr. Joe Rogan. Right?
There's been a huge uptick in the Joe Rogan fake science kind of posts I've been seeing.
Yeah, and, it's pretty incredible that you've seen the one about they kind of doctored up his video and photoshopped him to make him look a little more sicker when he announced about COVID.
I did not see that.
Yeah, I think it was a CNN article, and they kind of he actually shared it on his personal Instagram. He showed what he had originally and what they posted. It's just like the deception. You know, he obviously brags. I told you guys he knows his place in the Matrix. You know, he knows his stance and all this other stuff. But to just piggyback around to the celebrity things, aren't these the people that promoted vaccinations, mask mandates, all these things, shutting down business, all these celebrities, right? Isn't that who we always hear the pinnacle of leftists? Now, I know this isn't all of them, and a lot of the people you see with these crazy ideologies are extremists. But still, isn't that what's perceived? Hollywood's so far left-leaning. These people are all forced this and mandate masks and vaccines, and then what are they contacting Joe Rogan for? What are they contacting Joe Rogan for? They're trusting the science, I thought they're social distancing.
I think it's fascinating that when I hear all this, I mean, I actually went through, you can go through and see a list of the guests he's had on. He's had over 50 scientists on his show. 50 different scientists.
That's probably more, and in a 3-hour discussion, even though he always says he's a monkey. We always obviously know he's not. But yeah, he's probably had on, if you were to compare him to other interviews and stuff, he's probably interviewed real scientists almost more than anybody else.
There's a good chance, because when it's on CNN or Fox News or whatever, they're on for a 5-minute segment and then they're out.
Dude, there's commercials.
He's having
Joe Rogan,
full-blown conversations.
Like intimate details, even family, personal... Come on, that's a little rude, please. Yeah, it's crazy. And once again, like you said, the spectrum of people, and then the fighters and all the health, because he's a health nut because he fights, and it's weird how all these things bounce around. And then obviously he's pro freedom because he's comedy, so he wants to say what it's like. It's perfect. It's the perfect storm. That's why it's such an issue. But it's just funny that once again, all these people, pro celebrity and all this stuff, and they're contacting him. Now I'm sure these are right-wing celebrities that have always been in the closet, which has always been a rumor of a lot of these places, that there's just people that just say they're left-leaning. But you got to keep, these people know what they're doing. We got to keep an eye on them. And, that's why Dave and I are here. Keep it going.
Did you see this news here? Supreme Court ruling? This is pretty... It's,
You mean the thing that was unpopular but completely legal?
So it's a step in the right direction, but there's concerns. Headlines: Supreme Court strikes massive blow against Biden's employer mandate. Here's the thing, though. Basically, the Supreme Court said that OSHA cannot mandate private businesses to force vaccinations or testing, which is good.
So it could do public businesses.
Yes, they still allow the mandate. Well,
which is like twofold. A third of Americans' jobs.
Sure. So anybody's employed by the government, it still stands. Also, this is where it gets worse. Companies that take Medicare or Medicaid funding, it would still have to stand.
Oh, so federal program. Another thing too, like the private thing all sounds great, but if you're a contractor, a lot of the times with federal government, you're like not really a private contractor. You're a federal contractor, so you would probably have to be vaccinated for that.
Yeah, I don't know, because contractors get kind of weird.
Yeah, they do. I could speak on that, but I won't.
So
I have a Fifth Amendment for a reason.
It's a step in the right direction.
What's the Fifth Amendment, Dad? Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. Obviously, it's bullshit still, because we even have to have this conversation when we're all critically thinking adults that I thought we all understood what civil liberties mean. So thank you, Taliban and 9/11, to hand grenade a whole bunch of things.
Ooh.
But literally explode buildings to... How ironic. It's weird. Never mind. I'm not going to say what I wanted to. Them still being able to tell the federal employees what to do and stuff is crazy, because it's still tyranny. It's just internal tyranny.
I think the thinking is
that Joe Biden's the boss, but he's not. He works for us. We're the boss. This is like literally the basics of civics that we've forgotten, is that it's we the people. Like, they could say we the people's, we the government. Yeah, kinda, but no. We're the boss. You work for me. I tell you what to do by my votes.
So I think the thinking is a private company could still, in theory, a private company could say that if you're my employee, you have to do this to work for me. And it's not any different for public or whatever. It's all the same.
Does it matter, Dave, though, if the damage is already done in the court of public opinion? If, we can't even have the conversation about masks not being effective according to the CDC the entire time? Robbie De Niro, the guy locally in Orchard Park, he got arrested or a misdemeanor charge or whatever. He was arraigned. That's what it is. But he got a misdemeanor charge for refusing to wear a mask.
Was this recent, or was this from a long time ago?
No, this is this week. I told you guys a few weeks ago that there was some discrepancies and he was taken out in handcuffs. I didn't really know the story. But yeah, it just came across the feed this week. He's facing possible misdemeanor charges and stuff for repeatedly violating mask protocols or whatever. However, I have the headline. I could take a pull it up. But however the news wants to spin it, it's still... We've abandoned logic with the science debate. It's pretty crazy. We let one guy and very select groups of 25 scientists, 25 of the world-renowned Nobel Peace Prize winners say there's thousands of these people across the nation, but
there's more scientists who have been on Joe Rogan.
Literally. Speaking of that, I didn't listen to the whole thing because it's dense, but I started that one about the guy that basically invented the vaccine. And how he was censored from Twitter and everything. It's crazy. This guy's trust the science. It's literally the guy that made the science you're putting on the news. Contrary to media reporting today.
Well, trust the convenient science that empowers you. If you're an authoritarian, as Ryan says, he will not trust science that empowers authoritarians.
Yeah, I won't trust anything that empowers authoritarians. I won't believe it. I won't follow it. But yeah, trust the science that we tell you in 15-minute segments, not the 3.5-hour conversation that you actually have to have because the guy is quoting conspiracy theory.
No, that guy's anti-science, though.
Yeah, anti-science.
Who's anti-science? The guy who talks science for 3 hours, or the news segments that do 5-minute clips?
How about the guy that killed COVID in the weekend that he got it? He knew right away. He didn't need a test. He was like, yeah, I feel like shit. I probably have it. Took a test. It was like, yep, I got it. He already had a plan. And he's like, yeah, I was good in 3 days. Tested negative in 3 days.
Well, he beat it the same way you beat other viruses.
No, David, what you're telling me is...
Has anyone here, has anyone ever had the flu, gone to a doctor, and they're like, just drink fluids and sleep, you'll be fine? Isn't that everyone? Everyone who's had the flu, they might give you
Well, we don't have ventilators,
Zyrtec
David.
or whatever the shit it's called, but for the most part, they just tell you drink a lot of water and sleep, you'll be okay. Your immune system will do the rest.
We don't have ventilators, though, David.
Good. You don't want them. That means it's bad.
It kills
Just
people.
beat it before you get to the ventilators.
I heard Dan Bongino was censored or something recently. He got removed for something with the vaccines.
That's not surprising.
Man, yeah. Dan Bongino, true warrior. We're in your footprint, bro, for real. This is what I mean. It's crazy to think that we I'm not saying we're changing the world or nothing, but I have plenty of conversations that change people's lives. You know what I mean? These people just have bigger microphones. But there might be a day that we might be the only line of defense out speaking against the government, which is crazy.
It's a game of chicken, so.
Yeah, they're not going to let me into meta news. Yo, for real. I'm not going to get into meta news. I'm not going to be allowed into that app screen, so.
Meta news. FBI identifies hostage taker at Texas synagogue. Are you familiar with this situation?
The guy was a British guy. That's all I know. I seen it yesterday, and then today it came out he was all British, or 2 days ago, whatever.
Yeah, we know how those British people are always attacking synagogues.
Yeah, especially they're all pro-gun and all that.
He's got a really British name, too.
What is it?
Let me see if I can find it here.
Tell me it's Allah, or
It's not fucking Boris, I can tell you that.
Yo, it's not.
Well, here, I'll pull this up.
It's not Tom. It's not Carl. It's not.
No. It's nothing British. That's
Philip.
For damn sure.
It's not Teddy.
There you go. Ready? Let's pull this B up. What we know about the Texas synagogue. Mm-hmm. So some of these articles I've read, they didn't really want to mention him, but here he is. Malik Faisal Akram.
Sounds very Caucasian.
Yeah, said he sought the release of a Pakistani woman who had suspected ties to Al-Qaeda from federal prison in Texas. Yeah, so, and then...
real question. How far, did they show a photograph of this scumbag, or...?
I didn't see any.
Yeah, that's weird.
So when President Biden, though, however, was asked about this, well, as a great leader would do, I just don't have enough facts to speculate why a man targeted a Texas synagogue. That's weird.
He didn't condemn Semite behavior. He didn't come out and disavow anybody linked to the attack. He didn't disavow them. Even though there was fine people on both sides, I'm sure, in that confrontation.
I don't think there is sufficient information to know about why he targeted that synagogue. This is a quote from Biden, as you can tell by the inability to complete a sentence. Why he insisted on the release of someone who's been in prison for over 10 years, why he was engaged, why he was using an anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli comments. So, if you don't... I
thought we don't stand with Israelis. What is going on?
If you don't name your enemy, you cannot fight them. We know the Texas synagogue got attacked, and we're surprised. And the news is calling him a British guy. Oh, some British guy. Really, some British guy came over here.
With Al-Qaeda ties?
Yeah.
Ties with the organization that caused 9/11, the largest terrorist attack besides COVID in the history of mankind.
Well, we know those Brits love Al-Qaeda.
Dude, this is... So he's a British national here, just radicalized to the foreign nation and then dropped off. I hate these. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry. These people know what they're doing. I mean, come
on. That's exactly right. Joe Biden knows exactly who attacked and why he attacked. He has U.S. government intelligence. I know that sounds like an oxymoron. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing, and it's corrupt.
Dude, if they can censor me on Facebook, mind you, the same Meta, the organization that works with the White House to combat misinformation that is just based on opinions in open documents, okay? The guy of Meta said it, Mark Zuckerberg said it himself. Yeah, it's just opinion. So these very people can ban me instantly for telling somebody to go kill themselves or whatever I said that day in joking manner. I didn't put LOL after. But you don't know anything about the government, doesn't know anything about a guy that how did he get here? He obviously, he didn't walk here. He came from across the pond.
Well, I mean, they let him in because he's just some British guy.
Yeah, I'm sure. He just looked super British and sounded British. Dude, these people have been waging war against the ideas of freedom for thousands of years. I'm just gonna, I'm just supposed to expect that this stuff is just going to happen, but just seeing the media's response, there was something else I read this week.
Yeah, can we get an opinion check on this from Facebook? I mean, just this idea that we don't have enough facts to speak on. I don't know. He's from British. Come on, man. What's with all the questions?
Them referencing pro-Israel stuff when all these other people are like, if you're pro-Israel, you're a white supremacist or whatever, you're anti-this, or like you're condemning this, and you should be pro-Palestine, and I don't know. The whole thing's crazy. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know anything like remotely enough to like act like a specialist on it. With the idea that this guy is painted as a British national or there's some British guy on all these new, if this was once again, just use the optics of the things they're always targeting, black and white in America. If they were to use the optics like they did for that, we'd be super pissed off about it. It'd be like just like when 9/11. Remember how xenophobic or whatever they're calling it when we were against the Muslims and stuff? Remember that? They always reference that during 9/11, the height of Muslim hate crimes and all this. Like, that was like the way the news phrased it then.
It sounds like I now have a crasher also.
Yeah, there's no more sacred space.
The studio is no longer sacred. Were you about to jump into some quick things? Because I have one more thing. If you thought that one was bad, this one's worse. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, Teddy got a new jacket on.
Teddy doesn't need a jacket. He's a dog. He has hair. Headlines. Dogs don't need jackets. No. Headlines. Salt Lake City Tribune editorial calls for the National Guard to keep unvaccinated people in their homes. The editorial board wrote the government should deploy the National Guard to ensure that people without proof of vaccination would not be allowed.
This is an opinion piece, like.
Yeah, you could call it an opinion.
We know what this really is. This is them putting out an idea to test the water. This is also known as Overton window, and I'm sure this is exactly what Australia did in the last 2 years. They're like, maybe we should just keep them home, and everybody's like, yeah, you're killing grandparents. And then now they're in internment camps, and they don't have. I don't know how we got here. Everybody's
they're not internment camps. You can't say that. We're gonna get. They're quarantine clinics.
Yeah, identified by their social security number. Who gets social security numbers? United States citizens. Sounds like a prison to me. Oh, man. Obviously, I never care if these things get taken out of context or anything, because they're going to copy-paste whatever, make me, they're going to do what they have to do to put me in a mass shallow grave, even socially. But, dude, these people... It's every time. It's every week. It's all the time. So war for your mind. This is Overton window. This is them putting out a thing, testing the waters, seeing the backlash, seeing who hates it, collecting data on all of it, and then figuring out a better way to get the same thing done. Because the next step is now that they've proposed this extreme idea, they just propose the same idea, just less extreme. And then you're like, yeah, that sounds better. And then the next time they offer the same thing, and then you go for that one originally anyways. Hook, line, bait, and sinker. They've been using this political tactic for 1,000 years, I bet you, at least. So, yeah. These people know exactly what they are doing. I can't wait to get that shirt made. All right, on to other serious stuff. I saw an article that talked about spotting the next COVID variant faster.
We could just... What?
Spotting the next COVID variant faster. It's just funny because what have we said since the very beginning? A lot of people, most people have said, oh, there's always another variant, my 75th booster shot. And here we are, openly talking about it. Next variants and everything, trying to grease the skids, make you okay with it. You talked about the Texas hostage. That was pretty funny. One American News Network, which was like basically, they called it far right in this article. I've seen plenty of their stuff. It's like where like Skylight News or whatever's on, I believe. They're getting removed from DirecTV. They got their after their current contract, they're no longer being funded again. So another right-wing news media outlet is removed from the face of the internet. It's weird. It's like almost like they're trying to make everybody think more left-leaning by not opposing an opposite point of opinion. U.S. Capitol Police have arrested 16 people for illegal gun possession. Okay.
Illegal gun possession.
Yeah, as if there is a type. In all seriousness, I didn't even get 2 paragraphs into the article, and I could tell that nobody reads anything anymore. Because the first paragraph talked about, since the start of last year's insurrection on the Capitol, or however they worded that, riot on the Capitol, January 6th, there has been 16 illegal gun possession charges in the Capitol. So, like, they use the facts to, like, still paint the narrative that there could have been illegal guns at the Capitol siege. Even though we've reported everywhere else that was never found, which I actually have another headline tied to that this week. But it's just kind of funny how these people, they're openly, you know, they know you don't read their stuff, so they can tell you the truth very quickly. And then since you don't put it together, they can just move along and keep business as usual. But yeah, all the 16 gun charges were all non-January 6th related. What they referenced January 6th in the article.
That makes sense.
They're trying to burn it into your psyche like the fire of the Reichstag, which is what Hitler did. So, what do I know? I wasn't alive then. Thank God we got history that can get altered because of the opinion facts.
Also because people don't talk about it.
Oath keepers charged with seditious conspiracy. That was what it was. There was also people tied to it. I've not looked into this much because it's probably going to be a thing for a long time. So I wouldn't be surprised if they label these guys terrorists and they don't ever get a lawyer and we never hear from them again.
Yeah, that sounds like how that would play out.
Biden sends medical teams to 6 states to help overburdened hospitals.
Is it the National Guard? It's weird they called for the same National Guard that's helping hospitals to keep people in their houses.
It's weird. It's a medical team. So they spent a weird... I didn't know you could spell federalized with H-E-L-P, but that's a weird way to do it. So keep it up, federal government. I'm glad you're not spending money for nothing. You know, what's crazy to me is we're federalizing all these things, right? We're rationalizing spending everybody's money from sea to shining sea for you to send police somewhere. But then I got to hear about how police need more money next year to combat all these crazy things in my local communities, and then they raise taxes there too.
Yeah, it's also funny that for a party of people who don't like military spending, they're very focused on using the military to help with this.
Dude, if you were to slap Amazon on the federal government and keep everything else the same, people would say this is the largest monopoly ever invented in the history of humanity. But because it's got a fucking American flag on it, we're like, it's for our better interest. But once again, Dave, the very people that hate rich, wealthy capitalists are being ran by basically the same idea, just with the federal government attached to it. So they'll get what's coming. These people know exactly what they're doing. Dave and I are here for you guys. College number of participants is at a 50-year low.
That's weird.
It's weird. Men are also dropping out of college in mass numbers and also dropping out of religion in mass numbers, which is weird because for many, many decades now, women have gone to these institutions to try to find mates. And this is actually a great segue because I saw another article this week. I always bring up men and women and this stuff personally, but I do it sometimes on the program, and I share my my endeavors of misogyny with you guys for a good laugh because I take some L's. But I've won a lot, you know what I'm saying? Dave knows. And, yeah, I saw an article that talked about how if you ever feel like you're in the second choice of your relationship.
The second choice?
Yeah, and it's basically like, you know, you're with somebody and you always feel like, they still love their ex or something, or you still feel like they're out there trying to search for a guy on Tinder, which they probably are. And stuff like that. So I read the article. I didn't put a lot of time into it because I know the news lies to me, but it's funny. I brought up to you guys that I've consumed some red pill content, it's called, and the fire of the manosphere and all these crazy terms, but it talks a lot about men and women. And it's just funny that the mainstream media now has to report on stuff, because this is always talked about in the manosphere and the red pill community, is about you are just a guy for her next boyfriend. That's like basically she's looking for the bigger, better deal. They always talk about it. It's kind of true. And I'm not saying women are evil or greedy or anything. I'm just simply stating that this is a narrative that's in another area of the internet where people would it's probably the alt-right, what the equivalent of the alt-right was during 2016, right? This little dark corner of the web, right? 8chan, this shit like that.
Well, it was really kind of a made-up term, and then they just attached everybody to it.
Yeah, that's kind of how the manosphere is. But I use it as a term because it's literally, these points are always discussed in this area of the internet, and now the mainstream has to talk about it because they don't have the viewership. So it was funny. You shouldn't feel like a second choice, fellas. You're awesome. You should be number one. You're the greatest guy ever. Don't let women control you, and you don't need women to be happy. But work on yourself and all that stuff. But don't let the news lie to you. Don't let them tell you it's good to feel that you're a second chance to a woman and all this. You should never try to negotiate desire from your woman. You should never try to negotiate passion from your lady. It's just not healthy. And it's not conducive to long-term success. But I'll get off of trying to act like a relationship expert because I know I'm not. But just keep an eye on this men and women thing because it will grow. They're going to use it as either to divide us or bring us together based on their agendas or what they think fit. So, Steve Harvey says that he's stopped doing stand-up comedy because cancel culture has killed comedy. It's where we keep hearing Steve
Harvey too.
Yeah, we keep hearing these very same things over and over again. One last quick little COVID fact that I found out this week. The common cold may help with protection against COVID.
Wait, is this a thing? Is this going to be a thing? Because you did it last week too.
Yeah, it's my COVID fact of the week.
I kind of like COVID fact of the week.
The common cold may help with protection against COVID. Says a very small study patch in the United Kingdom, for whatever that's worth.
How would that even possibly do it, unless for some reason the common cold gave you some type of immunity? Just saying. I'm literally asking. I'm not being a smartass. I'm literally asking if any scientists are out there, trust the science. How would having the common cold help you with COVID?
Well, they're both viral infections. So I'm assuming at some point there's got to be an overlap in these viruses if there's some kind of protection. Like, you either got to start the same way or die the same way, or they got to, like, viruses obviously are all the same kind of type
or like have some
bacteria,
of the same like building blocks or something. Like, something has to be somewhat the same where your immune system goes, I've seen this before.
Which is probably why they're able to use some of these other drugs that I won't name with off-written label use by discretion of doctors, maybe something that Joe Rogan took, and it was able to work its way against viral infections.
You're not talking about horse tranquilizers, are you?
I don't know. I forget how to say the name because it's so controversial. I forgot how to spell. Yeah, there we go. That's the boy. That's the football team. And yeah, so it's just funny. Once again, Dave had a great headline, as he always does, probably, 6 months ago by now, that said one of these foreign countries is just going to count COVID infections as the flu, basically. Here's the United Kingdom saying kind of the same thing with different trusting science ways.
Now they're just going to count the common cold.
Trust science and not your immune system. Hey, your immune system might actually help you with the thing we were telling you to not trust.
No, it's fine. You don't need your immune system.
All right, so last one thing before I get into my Decembertainment. Now, I know nobody heard about this. I know you didn't hear about this, David, unless I sent it to you. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't know.
I see a lot of stuff.
China has a $1 trillion artificial sun.
I did see this. It's actually I heard it on the radio. It burns actually hotter than the sun. Is that not inaccurate?
I don't know.
I think it burns hotter than the sun.
Dude, I already told you guys everything I think about China. I already told you guys globalism's inevitable. I'm telling you right now, I don't think we're building suns in America.
I don't see a need to, quite frankly.
And what the fuck does climate change matter if I can just build a sun? Build an iceberg. Build big ice cubes. Just spend trillions of dollars to build big ice cubes and put them in the ocean.
Just rocket a bunch of water up into space, put it on Mars, salt water, and then you won't have to worry about the ice caps melting.
Bro, an artificial sun. I seen things years ago that talked about how China wanted an artificial moon to be like a big light bulb for the cities around the globe. They want to be able to like.
I think what they really want is a Death Star.
Dude, they want global domination to every inch of the existence on Earth.
And off Earth, I think.
Is this a sun? There's no way this is not weaponized. There's no way. There's no way. Dude, the United States military has ways to kill people with a ballpoint pen. And you're telling me that China's got $1 trillion atomic bomb over there that they're just calling an artificial sun, and we're like, oh yeah, this is cool. All right, Russia's moving into Ukraine right now. Oh, this doesn't sound like anything before. This is crazy.
Let's do some reading, shall we?
$1 trillion atomic missile. They're just calling it the sun. They have nuclear fission.
Let's break this down. Let's live, just so you can see how our minds work. Let's live read this article about China's sun.
I might cut Dave off about 50 times.
This is the headline: China's $1 trillion artificial sun fusion reactor just got 5 times hotter than the sun. So I was correct. It is hotter than the sun.
So it's not artificial. It's a real
it's artificial.
sun.
They made it out of.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
We didn't even get to the article yet.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic beer. That's a problem.
Artificial sun has set a new world record. I didn't know there was an old world record. After superheating a loop of plasma to temperatures 5 times hotter than the sun for more than 17 minutes. State media reported. The East. They even call it the East. Are you kidding me? Experimental Advanced Superconducting Tokamak Nuclear Fusion Reactor maintained a temperature of 158 million degrees Fahrenheit.
They name it the East because they want you to never forget that the West is empowered by biology and science and discovering the thing about the human condition by looking to the outside world, which is how the scientific method was invented by the goddamn Greeks. And these people are so egotistical, they think that they can make a sun better than the actual effing sun and say that they're doing progress. They're going to call it the East. I can't wait to destroy this beast from the East when I cut your electrical cable, you prick.
It's just... Brian, I'm sure it was just a coincidence that...
How is this not a military... Could you imagine if America was building an artificial sun? It'd be like, state media reporting America arming up for thermal warfare. We'd have Democrats be like, what are we? Dictators? Be like, ha 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 ha! Don't let the dictators build them. What happens then?
I'm just
artificial sun 5 times hotter. This is crazy. Go ahead, Dave.
This is the good. The achievement brings scientists a small yet significant step closer to the creation of a source of near unlimited clean energy. Because I'm sure this is what it's going to be used for. The Chinese experimental nuclear fusion reactor smashed the previous record set by France. Come on, kidding me? East had previously set another record in May of 2021 by running for 101 seconds at an unprecedented 216 million. The core of the actual sun, by contrast, reaches temperatures of 27 million. This is, I can't believe. And how do we contain all of that? I don't understand. Scientists have been trying to harness the power of nuclear fusion. Wonder why. The process by which stars burn for more than 70 years. Can anybody know what happened about 70 years ago while we were trying to use this technology? By fusing hydrogen atoms to make helium under extremely high pressures and temperatures, so-called main sequence stars are able to convert matter into light and heat, generating enormous amounts of energy without producing greenhouse gases.
Energy. It's not power, right? Let's not use the P word, which is what it really is, because then you think of devastation. These people, I used to think we could just like carpet bomb these scumbags and like take care of it that way, but we can't because they're sitting on atomic missiles that would probably blow a hole through the middle of the earth. Well, at least the media would say that.
I love how they're keeping the turbulent and superheated coils of plasma in place long enough for nuclear fusion to happen, however, has been a painstaking process.
Yeah, I'm about to call Biden and tell him his Build Back Better plan better have artificial suns in there. Not building back better enough.
Nathan Yavlinsky designed the first tokamak in 1958, but no one has ever managed to create an experimental reactor that is able to put out more energy than it takes in.
Dave, so you're telling me a Russian scientist is the building blocks for the Chinese system?
Well.
That's weird how that worked. I'm sure that France reactor that they compared the East to, I'm sure there was zero intellectual property theft off that thing. So I'm sure nobody in France, if there's people, if there's just Harvard professors in America getting caught selling trade secrets to China, I'm sure nobody in Europe was convicted of very similar crimes.
People think they're just doing this for clean energy. So, first of all, if you think China's making a sun for clean energy, I want you to look at what China does to the world every year.
Dude, they say they're openly say they're the People's Republic, and we know they're communists.
This is where I think the article gets.
This is so crazy.
I think
those people killed hundreds of millions of people with the same ideology that they have now. And 70 years ago, Dave, you hit the timeline right. Last time this happened was in 1958 when a Russian scientist was trying to figure. Why was the Russian guy figuring that out? That's weird. You're not talking about the Cold War when capitalism saved the day again. God forbid. Don't want to teach
it's amazing they failed to mention why 70 years ago. Wait, hold on. You're going to like this part the best. Set to be the world's largest nuclear reactor and the product of collaboration between 35 countries. Collaboration. Every state in Europe, the UK, China, India, and the US.
Oh, so we're involved? Oh, that's weird.
Globalism.
Let's just make it in China. Why do we need it in America? Let's just give it to dictators that killed 100 million people in the Second World War. Nothing could go wrong. It's not 100 million people. It might be. We don't actually know because they're so good at hiding records. That's weird.
It's like they don't want people to know.
Look, I love America so much. I am willingly going crazy to fight these people, man. This is, the East. Oh, my God. Remember Chow Mang, the beast from the East? They wrecked biological warfare on the basketball system, and now here we are later. Man, how the mighty have fallen.
Collaboration.
Dude, I kind of like that article breakdown.
Live article breakdowns.
Might have to be a segment. Break down one article a week. Yeah, we could break down. If anybody likes that idea, let me know. Excuse me. All right, onward. Was that the end of this the craziest thing I've ever read? I don't know what's crazy. Dude, I don't know what's crazier, Meta being a real thing or these people building suns.
Well, it's almost like you need a lot of energy to power the Meta.
That's weird. I wonder why you would want to power the Meta with so much energy.
So here's something, too, they said in the article that we just skipped over. So they said no one's been able to manage to build a nuclear fusion reactor that creates more energy than it takes in, which is as far as our understanding of science goes as of right now, right? Science doesn't change. Our understanding of science changes. If that's the case, where is the energy coming from to create this clean nuclear energy that burns 5 times hotter than the sun?
Dude, America's gonna be paying the tab for China to have a sun to make energy for their people. We are not gonna be at the top of the pecking order with these Chinese guys.
I think just the main point though is people. I don't think people want to admit this, but the fact is, at least as of right now, and probably for the foreseeable future, clean energy isn't going to actually be clean.
There's no way. My boss has actually talked about this, and a lot of it is dealing. I know, like, this is going to sound like I'm promoting Build Back Better in a way, but maybe I am in a different sense. Like, everything needs innovation, right? Like, the whole idea of capitalism is it promotes innovation because I can make a better product cheaper and basically put my competitor out of business if he's not careful. So, like, that's like the main message of thing that has promoted all this science and all this growth and all this other stuff that we're privy to. But oh my god! Oh, my boss talked about how when they make wire, like aluminum, for example, they just have done it this way for so long. Like a lot of these industries, these big conglomerates. I'm sure glass is another one. Like people that make glass bottles. Like I'm sure we've made glass bottles the same way for 1,000 years. Like literally, it's probably the same recipe. So like there's like the need for innovation is so low because it's so practical and it has fulfilled everything else. So like to re-engineer these systems is like takes a lot of time, energy, money, and it might not actually do the same thing cheaper. And why would you if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? It's an old saying. And that's basically how a lot of this stuff, when they always talk about gas, right? Oils, fossil fuels, coal, all these other systems that they're trying to get us off of. They always talk about how it's behind the times, right? Like we're going to the green frontier. And in a way, I agree with them. Like obviously, we should not be destroying everything, right? But we are destroying the earth to make the power that you're trying to replace with a far cleaner thing, at least right now. So my boss's speech about how it's just like it's super hazardous to make aluminum and like there's way cleaner ways to do it, but these companies won't invest time, money, energy, and resources to get it done. I think that says a lot in itself in the nature of business, you know? So I don't know, like I don't expect the government to step in to change that, you know, necessarily. And obviously nobody like us has that kind of resources to necessarily change how they make aluminum, for example. But it is something to think about because you damn well know that those aluminum companies have gotten away with this for so long because of certain things. You know, like I'm sure there's been poison, people have been poisoned, or they do it in third world countries or whatever it is, you know. So I'm not trusting government will build back better in particular, but I am just highlighting exactly what Dave said, that this clean idea, this idea that it's just going to be this clean switch is, I mean, we might have to make another 100 years of dirty energy to be on free, unlimited sustainable energy for everybody, for every person, for every inch. Then we may have to do 100 years of fuel still. Yeah, and honestly, in the grand scheme of things, if it took 400 years to reach unlimited energy, right? Like, but I mean, how old are cars? A couple hundred years old is the steam engine and stuff. So it only took a couple hundred years for us to put that together. And then when we get unlimited energy, we'll have thousands and thousands and thousands. In theory, right? This is what you always tell me, this utopia. We should have, so the benefit is there. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I don't trust these people. They know what they're doing. Decembertainment. A couple quick ones. I don't know where I want to start first. So first off, I continued watching Peaky Blinders. I love talking like that now. Talking like an old Brit. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Show's pretty cool.
Is that the show about British people coming over and taking hostages at synagogues? Yeah,
my favorite thing about it is the main characters hate communists. So, like, that's really been the alluring point. At one point, his sister runs off with one of those cocksucker communists, and, he eventually dies, like all communists should. But, in fiction, but, it's great. I love it. The killing commie thing is great, though. Honestly, it's like been... It's been like the redeeming quality of the show is that they kill communists, because at that time, Karl Marx is on the rise and his dumb ideology about stealing everything from people with more than you. Now, granted, maybe it's propaganda, but they do a really good job of like comparing how poor these people are living compared to how this gangster lives. So, what do I know? I don't know. I just know we live in the best place ever. Yeah, and then I just got two things. So I recently got a little promotion at work, and this isn't about myself, but I'm a foreman at work now, so I got to lead people, right? And I got to tell them what to do. I got to be a boss and be accountability and all these other things that people don't ever want to do. I stepped up, that I did some leadership. Never thought I would actually do something, be serious about it, but been having success with it. But when I became a leader, it made me think about a leader that everybody knows because Joe Rogan, and that's Jocko. So I downloaded a sample of his book, The Dichotomy of Leadership, it's called. Mm-hmm. And I read the sample. It's about like 30 digital pages. I plan on buying the book and reading the rest of it. It's awesome. And basically the dichotomy of leadership is that you have to lead and you also have to follow. Like, and you have to know when to do both. You have to know when to be firm, but be soft, and you have to know when to push and hold, and all these opposites that always weigh out, and you always got to find the balance. And it reminded me a lot when I was reading it. I'm super excited to dig into it more because it reminded me a lot about being a middle child, being a sibling. So maybe I am fit out for a role like that. But it's a cool book. Encourage anybody that's in positions to do something like that. Because I'm actually, like, technically, I asked somebody I work with not to get too involved with it, but I'm like, am I like only a foreman now? He's like, yeah. I'll be an installer, I'll install stuff, but like my main objective is to lead. So I've been a blue collar guy for a long time.
You can lead a couple people over to my place. I have some projects.
I could take care of you. We do Pennsylvania work.
You do PA work?
Yeah, my boss. Right now we're in Elmira, man.
It's honestly, we'll talk off here. It's super minor stuff. I can do it myself. I just don't want to.
Lazy. Understood. So yeah, Jocko's book was cool. It's kind of like a weird way to look at it because obviously the Navy SEALs are such an extreme force, but they do a real good job on like the book was cool because it breaks it down, right? Like they'll tell a story about like a firefight or something, and then how that relates to like your life and business, and like these main ideas and principles. Very cool way to read something. Yeah, and then my real Decembertainment this week. First things first. We'll talk about the Bengals game. Did you catch the Bengals game?
I caught the end of it.
Did you catch the whistle, the controversy with the whistle?
No.
Okay, so like right before the second half, if I'm not mistaken, the guy was like running out of bounds right there, the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he like threw it before he got out. And then like while the ball was in the air, it sounded like there was a whistle, so like some defensive player stopped moving. They caught a touchdown.
Oh, okay.
Long story short, the Bengals won by 7. So, like, it's kind of like everybody's kind of looking at that, right? Like, oh, that's the kind of bullshit, right? They asked a lot of the players after the game about it. I don't normally get into the politics and the thing about football with other teams. I care about what the Bills say, their post-game coverage and stuff, because, you know, they're kicking ass lately. But to hear everybody trying to, like, defend the NFL and also sabotage them at the same time is hilarious. It was like real-time ground control damage recovery on a plane crash. You know, like they're like, oh, these rules, the referees should have done this. It was just, people have been saying NFL's rigged for a long time. And then like when these things come out, it just makes you not put trust in the system. You know, so it, whether or not it was fake or not, I'm not saying that, conspiracy. It's just funny for me to see them basically trying to fight for the integrity of the NFL and all these play calls and stuff, when this year in particular with football has been so controversial with some of these calls, and it's been a big scrutiny thing. But and then yeah, my real Decembertainment is the Bills game, obviously.
That was unreal.
Perfect game, they say. That's what they're saying.
Literally perfect on offense.
That's what they're saying. Dude,
everything was a touchdown until it was a kneel down.
Dude, the interception after that, it was just like
that was
unstoppable.
Amazing. Because honestly, that was like, it was a perfect route and throw. Like, what are you gonna do? If you're Mac Jones, you go to the bench and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do?
that was 6 points all day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was going into his hands. The receiver didn't even have to move, honestly. And
Micah Hyde just went, whoop.
Nope, it's mine.
Dude, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. I watched it with my little brother, my father, and everybody. I had a couple people over. I was out of town this week, so to have my family over and watch the game was awesome. And just to see the Bills kick the Patriots' ass after I've been a Bills fan for, I lived through the golden era of football and everything here, and then like to see Tom Brady wreck us for 20 years or whatever, and just.
I think that game was just frustration of 20 years.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go on record now and say this for everybody. I don't care. I don't care. Josh Allen's the greatest quarterback ever. Guy's on fire. Bills need better receivers, not a different quarterback. So I don't know how many quarterbacks can run 700 billion yards in a game, throw sidearm across your body in 50-degree mile-an-hour winds with snow coming down on all directions, and the guy just still doesn't catch it. We need better receivers. So Josh Allen's the greatest quarterback ever. He will be better than Brady. Bring it. I'm saying it. He may not get accolades, but watch the dude play. It's crazy. The guy's Achilles. I said it. Until then, Dave and Ryan, December 17th, 73. Thank you all for tuning in. Watch us Monday live Eastern, 7 p.m. Yeah, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube.
There it is.
Meta. Yeah, if you guys made it to the end, I appreciate you. You December Knights, you are the real MVP like Josh Allen. Till then, talk to everybody. Go Steelers, because fuck Kansas City. And yeah, Dave, see you guys at the premiere. Dave, thanks for your time. Hey, one last quick thing. Next time you're in town, let me know.
Yeah, so, yeah.
We could have linked up. I was literally at the mall at the same time.
Were you really?
Yeah. The kid wanted shoes, and then she bought shoes that she said she wanted Crocs and bought Vans. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
It was a weird trip. My mom's having this, without going too much information. I don't even know if she'd want me to say this. My mom's having surgery on her ear.
Oh,
So
why
she wanted
COVID?
to. No. So she wanted to. She can't get it.
She's COVID immune.
She's probably got all the vaccinations.
Dude, bro, in all seriousness with this COVID thing, I have like all of my family. Like it's gone through like like everybody's got your aunt and uncle's family, right? So you're like your whole family's like 7 different little tribes of family, and they all got it. It read through everybody. My brother and I were like, yeah, nah. I've been around these people. I was like hanging out with them when they were COVID positive and didn't even know it, and it's just like, I don't know, dude. Nothing makes sense, people. But yeah, whatever. Dave, I hope your mom's surgery goes good. Thank you, everybody, tuning in. Be well, live long, happy, prosperous. See you guys.
See ya. Thanks.
Go Steelers!